Pup are a Canadian pop punk band who broke onto the scene a few years ago. They had two amazing singles from that album too, which caught a lot of attention, a lot of buzz. Unfortunately, the album didn't quite live up to those singles, but those singles were still fucking fantastic. And this new album, Morbid Stuff, doesn't really have any tracks at the height of that, but I do feel as though it remains pretty consistent throughout and ends up being a fairly good release. There's so much energy to the way they play on this album that I can't really deny so many of these performances. They really hit so hard, they're so heavy at times. It's just 32 minutes of extreme high level anthems basically. These tracks really go the extra mile to just become like these stadium filler jams. There is a lot of like angsty teen lyrics that do crop up throughout, which I don't really have all that much investment in. I mean, back when I was like 15, this would have been my shit, but just as I've grown apart from that, I do kind of wince at some of these lyrics here. The chorus of Free at Last, where he's saying, just because you're sad again doesn't mean you're special at all, is kind of a little, I don't know, a little questionable to me. I mean, yeah, sure, sometimes it is perfectly acceptable to be grounded and brought back down to earth and a little bit of a, hey, listen. And sometimes you do need that, but just the way this is kind of framed is a little unfair. Unfortunately, at this point though, I would say it is part and parcel of the emo pop punk crowd. And luckily the song itself does sound really great. It's just once it hits that chorus, I'm just a bit like, Full-blown Meltdown is exactly what it says it is. I mean, I do actually really like how like the track is way heavier than much of the other tracks on the album. It really is like hitting hardcore punk levels as opposed to just being a pop punk song. Depicting the idea of a meltdown extremely well, and I think it works in favor of the song as well, because it just sounds so heavy and throttling. See You at Your Funeral is a very punchy track, and it has this amazing catchy chorus as well. Cause after all we've been through, just really takes me back to those pop punk days that I used to live, you know, listening to bands like The Story So Far and A Day to Remember. I just really feel like this is kind of like a nostalgia experience for me personally. I do think that's why I like Pup as a band, because I just think they've completely nailed this sound. And everything is down to a T, to the point where there's not really too much to complain about, because they've just got pretty much everything right. At some points they're nearly hitting like Jeff Rosenstock levels of these euphoric, life-affirming pop punk anthems that just have so much power to them. Yeah, overall this is good. I mean, it did kind of get a little tiring multiple listens later. Like, I started off thinking this was really good, but then it kind of got a little worse each listen, but I still think it's good overall. I just think some of the tracks don't really carry that much weight to them, unfortunately. I do think if there was just a little bit more weight to the lyrics throughout the album, I probably would have gravitated to this even further, but overall I think a 6 out of 10 is the best I can go here. Really not going wrong by checking out this band if you're wanting some really exciting and exhilarating pop punk, you know. If you're wanting some nostalgia music, like for me for example, this is the perfect type of band you want to go to. And there aren't really many other pop punk bands around right now that I would point to and say this band is nailing it, but I would definitely point to Pup. So thank you for watching my review. Hope you enjoyed this review and the album. If you did, let me know. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Subscribe if you haven't already. Goodbye.